Happy New Year.
First episode of what we read.
That's
for this
right.
New year.
That's true. We're
for the year of what
not
we
for the
read.
year. Yeah, exactly. We're sort of resetting. Are we resetting?
We're kind of resetting, but we're
Yeah.
gonna finish up by doing the last set of 2020 books for the next couple of videos because
That's
we have
right.
a few from November, December that we haven't gotten the chance to talk about yet.
Because of all of the other videos that you actually saw just sort of come up in like random. It's like suddenly they're posting so much stuff.
Yes. So this is like catch-up time.
Exactly.
I think it's like 2 or 3 videos. We'll
I'm
find out.
I'm gonna go with 3.
Okay,
It's a
I say
fearless
with 3.
forecast.
He actually knows, so it's probably 3. So all of these books you probably will either have already seen us mention at some point in one of the other videos.
Oh yeah, definitely a bunch of like hauls and what have you.
We've probably already talked about them, but we figured it would still be fun to share like our actual thoughts on the books because we didn't really get a chance to do that.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna kick things off. I'm gonna start with a book that actually came out in 2021, but I did get to read it early. I actually have a finished copy of it now. That's how much time has passed. And it's a book called You Have a Match by Emma Lord. As you can see, it was chosen for the Reese's YA Book Club. I think it's for January, I want to say. Anyway, this one, I'm just going to read it because it's easier that way. It says, when Abby signs up for a DNA service, it's mainly to give her friend and secret love interest Leo a nudge. After all, she knows who she is already. Avid photographer, injury-prone tree climber, best friend to Leo and Connie. Although ever since the BEI, big embarrassing incident, with Leo, things have been awkward on that front. What she finds out because of the DNA test is that she actually has a full-blooded older sister who doesn't live too far away from her. And so the pair of them end up meeting in person. They end up also going to the same summer camp, and they're trying to figure out what went down between their parents all those years ago, basically. And I really like this book. Like, I enjoyed Emma Lord's debut novel, Tweet Cute, and it was great. This one was equally good. I love that it has sort of Parent Trap vibes with the camp setting, like, and the sisters thing too. Like, they're not twins, but like the same sort of like, we didn't know the other existed, and now that we do know,
suddenly
what actually happened.
Yeah.
Like, why are our parents not talking? Like, how did I end up adopted, and how come you're with our actual parents?
That is kind of bananas.
So it was, and like, it was just so fun. I love a summer camp setting. I love a sister story, and I love that both of these girls are very different from each other, and yet there are things that they have in common that bring them together.
Right.
And I love the secondary, like, plot lines, especially the one with her best friend and crush, Leo. I think it's just interesting to watch their relationship sort of grow and unfold as the story continues. Plus, Leo happens to be Filipino. There's also another Filipino character in the book that you meet later on. And it's so cool because they mention it a lot, and they also mention a lot of Filipino food, which is great. And I'm excited because Emma Lord says she's gonna be putting together like a list of some of the recipes for things mentioned in the book, and it definitely will include some of the Filipino things, so I'm like stoked about that. But yeah, this was such a good book. Highly recommend checking it out if you want something that's heartwarming and humorous and just a whole lot of fun.
Awesome.
The other book I'm going to talk about will kind of seem a little late because we're already done with the holiday season, but I wanted to talk about it anyway because it was so delightful. That book is The 12 Dates of Christmas by Jenny Bayliss. I read this one before the holiday.
Sure, yeah.
Before Christmas last year. And you actually might have seen this one already because I think I mentioned it in my rereads and runners-up.
That's
like
true. A lot of the rereads and runners up will find there because we
mentioned.
actually read those, so obviously we're gonna go in depth.
So this is a pretty simple premise. There is a girl named Kate. She signs up for this sort of dating service thing for 12 dates, and it's leading up to Christmas, and you get to go on a variety of different activities. You get to be paired up with different people at these dates, and maybe find your true love along the way. And it's fun because it's filled with like hilarious holiday hijinks, but at the same time you kind of get to see also like Kate being sure of who she is and what she wants, and also drawing the line where she has to. It's kind of predictable in terms of who she's going to end up with almost from the very beginning of the book.
Right.
But it was still such a charming journey to follow along, plus all of like the little holiday details and the fact that this is like a British holiday story.
Oh, hey.
Even more charming. It's like small British town vibes, and I love that a lot. So I definitely think this is a super enjoyable book, and would definitely recommend reading it closer to the holiday season to get you in you know, holiday spirit. But yeah, it was so much fun to read, and I really enjoyed it. So 2 for 2 on the books I'm talking about right now.
Or read it in Feb. I mean,
you can read it whenever you want. If you want some holiday spirit in your February, who am I to stop you?
That's right. Read it in the
never
summer.
stop you.
Do what you want.
Christmas in July.
Which is our household every so often.
You know, it's your turn.
All right, Katara and the Pirate Silver. That is, I'd like to start strong there. I'll preface it with this. I have a very strange relationship to any comics canon Avatar, The Last Airbender property that happens within the TV series. There are a bunch of canon comics that, and I'm huge on canon, that happen after the events of the TV series of, you know, Aang. For those of you who hadn't watched it, please do. I don't
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
I do
it's
not
still
have it.
on Netflix, I think.
It's still on Netflix. I do not have the time to explain absolutely everything, but the setting is, in this world, there are
I can't do it as well as you.
right. There's you know, in a world where there are people who can do things like control the elements and bend them to their will, called, wait for it, benders.
And the type you are also is the like it is literally part of the name.
Water, air, earth, air, fire. Only the Avatar, who is a master of all the elements, can bring balance to the world. In which case, this happens in the era of Avatar Aang, who was born to the air nomads, who gets stuck in an iceberg for about 100 years, right at the cusp of a terrible, terrible war, where the Fire Nation begins to invade the entire world. He is awakened from this iceberg and realizes 100 years have passed, the war is over, the Fire Nation has won, and now everyone's just trying to escape from its grips. And that was my job, to sort of fix it. And now he has to, like, do that. But nobody's left to sort of teach him, right? So he meets some friends who are great benders and thinkers of their own right, and they become the revolution. Great series, great story, but everything else that happened after that they turned into comics, like, you know, Team Avatar tales and sort of like these little
stories you kind of
get. It really didn't strike that big a chord with me, as opposed to the actual big arcs that happen where they explore whatever happened to this person's, you know, mother or whatever. Long story short, this was the only one that I really actually loved.
Aww.
And it's set in Book 2, Earth. It is centered around Katara. And that is, to me, extremely...
Who I think is an underrated
She's
character, to be
magnificently underrated. And the irony is that this... And thank you for bringing that up, because the entire theme of the book is how underrated she is. And how she addresses how even she feels like her team underrates her as the good one, the goody two-shoes one, who would never throw down.
Yeah.
And then she gets separated from the group in the Earth Kingdom and decides to just, you know, up the badassery. And here's the irony there. Like, even after proving herself in, like, the Northern Water Tribe, facing off against, like, that teacher, Katara still felt like she was, like, the nice one. Which, in my head, I'm like, after all that, you're still, you know, treated like a woman? The point...
True.
I mean... How much more powerful a message can it be where after doing 85 million awesome things, you're like, yeah, but she's kind of soft serve. What? Which is, again, a prevalent thing that is happening, but as somebody who has been raised by powerful women, I'm like, no, she's... You kidding? I'm more scared of her sometimes than Toph. Because Toph, you can hoodwink into getting her temper, get the best of her. With Katara, she will be deliberate about stuff. So I think that's it there. So if you're a Katara fan, pick it up. It's really great. Lastly, but not to go into it too much, this is Boruto. He is the son of the titular character from the Naruto series. Spoilers there, he survives. Or does he? We don't know. Offspring can often show up in ninja villages and you wouldn't even know if their parents were alive or not. But this, again, is literally the next generation. It's called Naruto The Next Generation.
Spoiler!
So, spoiler. It's on the cover. I finally got around to, first of all, rereading the first, like, 3 or 4 sort of, like, books, just so I could just catch myself up. And then all the way to the very most recent printed manga, which is volume 9. And I gotta say, it centers around a bunch of peacetime children whose parents were the heroes of the easily the biggest and most important war that, instead of dividing and tearing the world apart, actually united it. And for a new threat to come to, and I'm selling this so much better than the TV series.
It's true.
Right? And for a threat that even their parents are concerned with, to be tied directly to their lives, whilst at the same time centering on, and I never knew that this was apparently the story of Boruto, because guess what? The TV series has like 100 and like almost 200 episodes plus, and it's just been fillers forever.
Been watching that for almost over 2 years.
And they have been exactly, and they have been like riding hard on the fandom and the fan knowledge of it without actually mining
because to be fair, we're garbage enough to actually watch it.
We're going to watch all. I mean, we have our complaints. We're not like
like there are a lot of things where I'm like, that was unnecessary.
And that was like dumb. Like, how is this considered good writing? Even if there are like bright, and shining moments.
But we'll still watch it.
But what intrigues me about Boruto's story, which is 100% different from anything that we've seen in Naruto, but is still in the theme of this whole ninja world where only the strong can survive, etc., is there is a found family here. Another, and Alexa doesn't know this, but there is another found family within an actual family, and I'm just like, what does this mean? And it gives you all of these feelings, and the only thing that I will give away, is because Boruto itself starts with a freaking spoiler. The first few pages, e.g. the first minute of the TV series, is a shot into the future, probably the far future, about 10 years into the future, 10, 15, 7 years. And you're thinking to yourself, holy crap, they're building up to this? And
you know what? Smart move on their part, because now you're just going to keep watching because you just
want to know how they got there. But then as they lay the foundations of that, the story of this found family at the core of this upcoming storm, to me, is just like, how many more feelings can this franchise evoke from me? Apparently more. So if you don't mind feels, pick this up. It's easy to catch up. It's easy to pick up, especially if you watch Naruto. And even if you didn't sort of watch Naruto, I guess you could.
It wouldn't be my starting point of choice.
It wouldn't be my starting point. But of course, there have also been like 500 episodes or some such of the previous thing. So hey, go hard or go home. That's really the only way to enjoy Naruto or any of its franchises.
That's true.
There's no way. Like you either commit to it and just do the thing and then join the rest of us. Or you're like, I'm good.
Yeah.
And then go watch, like, I don't know, the rest of One Piece or Attack on Titan or whatever currently is ongoing right now. But speaking of
franchises that give us
and feels and garbage, people garbage for things. Let's the both of me and Alexa talk about Unlocked.
Unlocked by Shannon Messenger, which is book 8.5 in the Keeper of the Lost City series.
Babe, what is 8.5 in the Keeper of the Lost City series?
I actually looked this up while Maki was talking. This big chunk right here, this is not a story thing.
Yep.
This is a world guide, a character guide. It is also like a recipes. It's got fun quiz pages. It's got Keith's art and stuffs. That's all I'm gonna say.
Stuff.
So basically, this is just like a guide to the Keeper of the Lost Cities.
And
series.
Sort of like an augmented, I could say augmented reality.
Okay, here's the thing. I didn't initially plan to actually read the guide part because I was like, I don't really need to do that since I'm relatively well immersed in Keeper. Like, I know it well enough. But you know what? It was a lot of fun because of the way Shannon Messenger chose to do it. So she has it separated into sections. And the best part is it starts off right away with character sections, which I think is what most of us are the most interested in when it comes to Keeper. So it's fun because the way it's done is like character files.
And here's the thing. It's a combination of really meta sort of elements, right? Where we have, let's say, and again, not too spoilery, but some of the character profiles are actual character profiles as though they were lifted straight out of the universe of the, you know, Keeper of the Lost Cities, you know.
Most of them are. They are like dossiers, basically, that were collected by the government in this story.
Yeah, and
on each of these individuals.
And it's like the last big franchise that we've read or are familiar with, and do let us know if there are other things that are like this, that sort of employ this kind of storytelling technique where you've got files on stuff. Was the Illuminae series, and which is great. So Shannon Messenger does that, but for the Keeper fan base.
And it's great. Honestly, it was just fun to like learn a little bit more in detail again, or be reminded in detail again about the world. It's like everything from like actual hierarchies in that world to like the different kinds of abilities you might develop in this world to like the recipes in this world. Like it's like a variety of things, and it's great.
And she could have gone the whole 9 yards of like, you know, this is the Stormtrooper book published by Star Wars where we are telling you about the history. Yeah. She could have gone that, but she did not. She actually takes
she knows her audience, I think.
Exactly. And so she takes, you know, like secret files that the council keeps. She takes, you know, personal documents kept in handwritten by sort of certain characters. There's commentary from characters that we know and love that have no business making commentary, but at the same time they're the only people you want commentary from anyway.
Exactly.
So
it's great. I genuinely love the way she did the guide part, and it kept me so intrigued that I actually read the entire thing.
I was actually really impressed that she read through all of it because full disclosure,
I read through all of it in an entire day. So,
I skimmed hard. So technically I read it, but I skimmed so hard. Like the lightning pace at which I skimmed, I might as well be light leaping.
However, the other part of it, this tiny part, is actually a novella.
That's the novella. That's
and
what
here are the things you need to know about this novella. It picks up right where Legacy, the previous book, left off. And it introduces a new point of view character. Whereas we've been following Sophie's point of view the entire time, we actually get to hear from Keith Sensen now because of this novella.
I was about to say Sylvanie, but
and it makes sense considering the circumstances with which Legacy ends. I'm not going to spoil it, but like it makes sense that his point of view has now been added to the perspectives in the series. And honestly, the novella is so good. It's a little chaotic being in someone else's head, especially because it's Keith of all the
That's the only reason it's chaotic.
Exactly. It's funny because it's like chaotic but also organized at the same time because he knows what he's he wants. He's just agonizing over it.
Right. It's a lot more whinging for the right reasons, or maybe whatever. So.
But also, like, it was just great. Like, it really was necessary for this to happen, because I think without it, it would have felt too much like a jump from the last book into the next one.
Yeah, because
like if we had skipped this, I feel like there's something missing.
Exactly, and if she started the next one the way things ended here, it would have been a lot of backstory.
We would have had all of this backstory for that thing that she needed to sort of put on page for the rest of us.
And you can put backstory without it being too info dumpy.
But I feel like it would have sacrificed a little bit of like the emotional resonance that the backstory has, because you're reading it here.
So
it's so good. It's so good. Like it's so good. Like, I have nothing to say.
It's so stressful though. That was the first thing.
I was really stressed.
I was about to autocomplete Alexa's sentences. Like, this book is, I'm like, so stressful. It is. It's stressful,
but in a good way.
Emotionally.
Like, honestly. And it's just because we care. That's really all that is.
Like, even I care.
I really care. But the other thing, I guess, that is a highlight, which Mackie actually already mentioned when we talked about this book before, is that part of the world guide is that you get a look at a journal that Keith has been keeping. And Keith is not a writer, he's more of an artist. So his journal is actually made up of more of drawings. And the bonus thing you get, because this is a Barnes & Noble edition, so the bonus thing you get with it is actually one of the drawings as a...
it's just one of those,
casual, this is it.
I mean,
if you know, you know, but if you don't know, then you don't know. So, that's all that really matters.
Not vague at all.
No,
and I like it.
It's gonna be vague forever. But yeah, suffice to say, Unlocked is like...
Oh, and the pretty, and the pretty, like, look at that. Look at that gorgeous foil.
And you finally got a map of the...
where all of the lost cities are.
All the lost cities are, all the houses
scattered across the globe. And for a bunch of teleporting elves, like, of course your best friends can live on, like, the West Coast.
They can live wherever, because you can easily get
like, your other friends live in, like...
lightly.
Bulgaria, exactly, so...
But yeah, it's great. Honestly, we're such big fans of the Keeper series. I'm very excited for the next book. Apparently, today I heard, or the other day I heard, that it might actually end up being 10 books total, depending on how 9 wraps up.
Which, thank goodness, because in my head, I'm like, you can't... I mean, you could resolve it in one book.
There's no possible way. Well, there is a possible way you can resolve it in one book, sure.
Yeah, but...
But then what if that means you have to sacrifice something?
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like, we're gonna blow up the Death Star. Wait, the first one? No, the second one. Like, see, that's a nice way to, like, halfway through, you're like, oh... Then you can finish that in that, like, a bit of time. The way Legacy ends and the way this thing kicks off, you're like, one book, really?
The way this one ends, I don't even know what to talk about. The kicking off,
one book. Like, it's just, and I think Shadow Messenger is good enough to pull that off. I just feel like she would.
I have a theory about where the next book is gonna end.
Wait till you hear our fearless forecasts.
It's gonna be great. I'm really excited. But yeah, suffice to say, we're big Keeper fans in this house. Would highly recommend it. Whether you're an adult who likes middle grade stories, or you're an actual adult with middle grade readers that you want to gift it to, it's actually a really good series to do that with. Yeah. I think for like upper middle grade.
Yeah, we were technically gifted the series by the Fates, and we were like,
now we're like obsessed. So
here we are.
Pays off. So. Anyway, those are all the books we're talking about in today's What We Read video. We hope you enjoyed it. Let us know if you've got any thoughts, and we will see you guys with another video soon. Goodbye.
Bye.